Alright, boys. Ugh, there she is. Put the ring at the back. I had to drill through the bolster and the tang. It's spring steel. I have this 20mm round stock spring steel. Yeah. So you don't need to watch the previous video because the lens was not very clean. Not an easy feat nowadays. I think the camera is actually slightly... No, it's not. So, yeah, spring steel overall construction, the idea. This is this, Scout Jaeger. I had, when I was in the army, I had on me, it was the LMF2 from Gerber, the classic one. It's worth like $500 nowadays. And I lost it, unfortunately, there. It slipped out at some point towards the end, but I always thought it was a pretty damn good knife, and it just needed to be a little bit bigger. So I thought to myself, I've always kind of wanted or needed like a beefy knife. This is a knife, this is not a chopper, but you can chop with it if you have to. And so the whole point is like a Scout Jaeger. You're a military utility knife. People are starting to get pretty psyched up about spring steel because it actually does have very, very high performance and toughness. It's covered in dirt right now because I've been messing around with it so much, but I got a double layered sheath for now. I think it's all I need for it right now. I didn't want to put too many eyelets because they're pretty hard for me to get a hold of right now. So, but for a display piece, this is pretty nice. It's got G10 handles. It's a full tang construction. The ring, the ring is flush on the. It was forced down, and then there's these two G10 scales that were forced into, like shaped and forced into the ring. The ring comes around. It gives a shoulder for the power cord to rest on. We got the stainless steel ring at the back there where the knock comes through, and then I just capped it off with like a regular, as if it were a rat tail style. And that helps with getting a good fit at the back, So overall, I'm really pleased with how this came out because it's like, again, like I said in the previous video, it's like a mixture of a rat tail and a full tang. I mean, it's a full tang, but it has a rat tail construction. So you have this guard up at the front. You got this pommel here, and it's all like forced together forwards, but then the actual grip itself is a scale on there. And I've been meaning to do this type of construction for a while. Like I said in the previous video, this is a very mid to late 19th century construction for large machete knife kind of things, military grade construction. Towards the middle of the 20th century, it's basically phased out. We don't see it too much after that. Now, this type of construction is, of course, necessary for wood. If you need something to last a really long time, like 50, 60 years in storage, then this type of construction is ideal for wood. But of course, this is G10, so still just super, super cool. People have said, like I said in the previous video, I'm just going to reiterate what I said in the previous video. I just got better camera quality this time and a more finished knife. What was I saying? Yes, it's a full tang construction. Some people worry about this rivet lock. Is that like a stress point? But if you notice that in any classic full tang construction, you got holes going down all the way of the tang anyway, so you're not changing anything. And there's a heck of a lot of metal here. There's a lot more metal there than there is anywhere else in the blade. So it's not a rat tail construction either. So pretty brilliant. A lot of material, a lot of metal. It's quite nice and thick too. And that's kind of one of the key things that I wanted. I wanted like a thick tapering spine like that for batoning. And I've also started to really enjoy square spines. The circular round spines. It's so good. The circular round spines, they feel like they always add too much pressure to your thumb. And the flat spine is like the most surface area you can sort of get. So I've been digging that. But really fond of this blade. Again, just reiterating everything I said in the previous video, I've been looking for a solution to simplify having sort of a Picasso style, recurve style clip point thing on a blade, but the problem is those traditionally just make the tip super weak, and then you can't baton it really, or throw it or stuff like that, or abuse it too much. And then recently I just played around with this and I thought, hey, you know what, you get most of the benefits of that here, and you don't have to worry about a fragile tip. Plus you get a fucking cool like Kisaki style thing going on there, which is great, because if you're cutting something on a surface, it cuts like this. It's like you got a kitchen knife at the end of your blade, which is super cool. So you can score with it. Very versatile. I was really digging that point there. It digs deep. There's just so much crud on this blade right now. So yeah, I needed a blade that was batonable, that you could chop with, wasn't too big, fairly heavy duty construction, has the rivet lock, a lanyard, and the lanyard is important because it amplifies your chopping ability. One of the nice things about this ring thing here is that it actually swells up really nicely against your hand like that, and it's a really comfortable pommel. So very clever. You get like a three-dimensional sort of thing there, so it hangs on. I was thinking, so the original idea with this design is that it can both be wrapped and unwrapped, and it can be. It works both ways, but I was going to epoxy harden the wrapping to the grip, but then I thought to myself that like I also want it to be very versatile. If I'm going on a hunting trip, I could wrap this in an orange handle, you know. If I'm going fishing or whatever, I could have a blue handle. So I can change the wrapping as long as I don't glue it in, depending on what I want to do for the weekend. And you know, it gets personal with the knife. So that's something I was thinking that I'd just leave it as is. Really cool brown black G10 mixture. I think it goes well with the sheath. Again, classic, just simple sheath like this. I like to just tuck it in like this and then just pull it out. It's nice to have a thumb pusher at the top and also a thumb pusher on the bottom, so you get both like that. This can suspend itself very easily. It's a good system. Again, this is a very like balanced blade, which is nice for a fighting knife, but for chopping, it's not always the best thing. You don't get all that much strength, like a weight up here, but having that lanyard, again, it gives you that extra mass. It brings that mass out to the front, and you can do some serious damage with it. It is a serious chopper. I have been chopping with it all day, so there's no complaints anywhere. I have been carving with it. There's no hard corners anywhere, so super pleased with this design. It's exactly how I want it to come out. I don't think, and no shorter, no longer. Really cool. So this is now like the flagship Scout Jaeger Master class, right? So we'll have different series of the Scout Jaeger. I'm gonna like slow down with the rivet lock series because I'm getting a little bored with them, and I'd like to kind of just focus on like cool looking blades that are like military capable spring steel kind of blades. See how nice that fits in the hand, and the grip is just a little tad extra long. You can really get a nice grip. But yeah, like a rivet lock mechanism, using guards more, just doing more builds like this. I mean, this would be like your master series. This is like your most expensive version. Like you'd be, you know, if you really want something like this, you gotta like save up for it because it's an enormous amount of work. But I'm always making like simple stuff. That's under 190. So, I mean, as much as I would love to be able to make something like this for $300, that would be wild. Wouldn't that be fucking wild? But especially in like AEBL, if I could do something like this in AEBL. But honestly, the smart approach, if you wanted to do that, is you contact some engineers. You know, people that work for cold steel or something, you show them this design. It's like, look, how would you go about manufacturing this, you know? But, you know, sometimes all you need to do is go to some Chinese manufacturer, and show them the prototype and be like, just make this. So maybe that's what I'll do someday. But I'm a bit tied up here because I'm forced to create like as much value products as possible, like, you know, anything below like 40 to 190 euros. But then that kind of like prevents me from time to time to actually show the depth of the skill that I am, because that's the quality you see here reflects on the quality of the cheaper knives too, right? The more affordable knives, right? These things. So you think to yourself, oh, he only makes all these small little simple knives. It's just basic stuff. Some people complain, oh, why are they so expensive? But then it's like, I have to make things like this and like the previous kitchen knife to kind of showcase, hey, you know, you're getting like really good quality. So one regret I had is I don't know why I went with the full polish. I should have kept it black like I usually do with these knives. That was kind of the idea, because this, when it's shiny like this, it reflects in the sunlight, and you're blinding yourself when you're using it and you can't see anything. So I prefer the black, and I should have just kept the black surface on there, but I don't know. It looks nice when it's shiny like this too. Anyway, the Scout Jaeger, this is kind of what I had in mind. I'll be forging them chunkier, like this, right? These Scout Jaeger series. Oh, nice. That's a shitload of ravens. That's a good omen. I could call this the Scout Jaeger Raven. But anyway, so the nice thing with a steel pommel is you can smash and crack and smash things with it, glass or whatever. If you're having it on your waist, the pommel is knocking into hard objects. It's protecting the blade from damage. So I've been a huge fan of these metal pommels for a long time. I don't really have anything other than, like, I wish I could do this out of Damascus, stainless Damascus, you know. I wish I could do this from like ABL, but the thing is, the reason I can't is because so much of the ability for me to make these comes down to the hot forging and the cold forging process. Because of the steel being in an annealed state, I am able to do pretty decent level of work relatively quickly. So another thing I'd like to add is a ring from the back. So a ring like you see from here, force it in from the back, and that'll give me an extra shoulder where I can stop the power cord a bit early right there, and I think that'll clean things up too. But that's tough because I have to find the correct dimension steel ring for that. This is pretty fun. This is cool. I'm seriously digging that. I haven't weighed it yet. It's a hollow grind. I know not everybody likes that, but what I've realized with these recurve grinds is it doesn't perform very well unless it is a hollow grind. So if you guys have any questions about something like this, man, just you know, throw it in the comments. I don't really know what else to say about this knife other than, like, I've been really digging and thinking about making something like this for a really, really long time, and now that I have one, I can showcase it. It's, you know, I can do this. It's a representation of what the Scout Jaeger series is about. They will all have pretty much the same kind of beefy blade like this, but they're all also going to have very different blades. Handles, right? So different levels of construction changes the price of the blade. And if you want something more affordable, it's, you know, the more simple the handle is going to be. But I'm going to try and keep that blade profile, and I like the forging and the cold forging. So keep in mind, like, you know, when you're forging a piece of steel that's like this long and this thick under a power hammer, that's not like a low skill. This comes from a round stock, you know, this piece like this, you know. It's like you have to understand that there's a lot of skill and effort and work involved. So I'm trying to make it affordable as much as I can, but I have to I can't just break even on every single knife either. You know, it's crazy with these eyelets. They're like 30 cents each. Super expensive. If I fuck up a sheath, it's so much money down the drain. Or when I fuck up, when I grind these scalpels, just the blank stayed alone, they're $10 each. If I screw up a scalpel, that's $10 waste. And there's a lot of wasted scalpels laying all over the place. Maybe like 30, 40, 50 total. So that's like 500 euros or dollars of, broken scalpels that'll never be sold, and they're just like waste material because they got fucked up somewhere or another, like overground. But anyway, boys, I just had to redo the video because I wasn't satisfied with the quality of the previous video, and I was kind of disappointed. I didn't understand why I was doing that. Probably just camera smudge, lens smudge. I would love to make more of these, but again, I can only make these if it's profitable, and it took 12 hours, a little bit over 12 hours. It was around 12 hours to make this one. And so, that's like full-time labor. You're kind of aiming for being able to make one of these a week. One or two of these a week. Two is like really, if you can do 2 of these a week, you don't have a day off, really. If you're doing like only custom work and only making stuff like this. But, man, if only I could figure out a way. The thing is, I know I can cold forge ADC RV2 and 15 and 20. So, a carbon Damascus steel from ADC RV2 and 15 and 20 should be cold forgeable, and I should be able to make these completely, like, with the same exact way without any problem. So I'm going to look into that, because all I need is stock 20mm round stock Damascus made from that, and I just forge it out, anneal it, cold forge it, and do everything, and then get it finished, and it's super badass. So, man, I just can't let go of this knife, guys. I wish I could make one for all of you, and in a different world, if we were all Vikings, I probably could, and then the state would be paying for it. So, see you guys. Where's the off button?